What's up, Chili Pup? Thanks for stopping by. Let's do a walk and talk. Let me show you around the campsite. And I also want to talk about this very serious matter that's been going around lately about the executive order. I'm so confused about what it's all about. I debated even making this video because I'm like, I think it's been done by about 1,000 van life YouTubers. What does it really mean? Some have said that it would apply to people sleeping in a tent on the sidewalk or in a public park, and other people have said that it'll spill on over to if you're parking in a legal spot on the side of the street, then you get the knock. It could escalate to them arresting you and taking you for a mental health evaluation. I don't even know how far this could go. And then there's talk about if you don't accept a bed at a homeless shelter, you could be arrested, taken to jail. My goodness. It seems to me it would depend on which individual cop you were dealing with. If you got a nice, logical cop, probably nothing would happen. But if you got a jerk cop, then he could make your life very difficult. So I've watched a lot of YouTube videos about it, and most of it is opinion. There's a couple that, I watched Bob Wells' video on it, and I guess his was the most informative because he said, well, just go and read the order for yourself. So I read it, but it's so vague. There's a lot of what ifs involved in it. When you read a document and then you still have a lot of questions afterwards, then that means it's vague. It's open to interpretation. Now, Bob said in his video, this executive order has nothing to do with public lands. If you're camping out in the forest or BLM, it has nothing to do with that. But if you've watched my channel since the beginning, then you'll know how I started. I was parking on the city streets every night in the city of Nashville, Tennessee, working a full-time job. So I would get up every morning, go to work, get off work, go find a stealth parking spot somewhere on the street. I did have a couple of grocery stores that allowed overnight parking for a while. That ended up getting shut down because the one at the Kroger grocery store, I would stay there about 2 or 3 times a week, and it got shut down because a guy that parked there overnight OD'd on heroin just right next to me. I didn't even know it happened, but I got the scoop from the Kroger employees that said that's what happened. So that shut that down. It's always drug use. Ruins everything. I hate drugs. Can't stand them. Destroys everything, and people who take them destroy themselves and everybody around them. Oh my gosh, I don't even want to get on a tangent about drugs. That's not what this video is about. This video is about the ever-increasing squeeze and on van life, because I'm focused on van life. So let's take the executive order out of the equation for just a minute, and let's just focus on public lands like BLM, national forest, stuff like that. The land itself is not shrinking. It's just the accessible areas for camping is shrinking on a monthly basis. And here's how I know. So I've gone to so many places. Let me find a for instance. Okay, here's an example. I've gone to a camping area on BLM land, stayed there 7 days. The limit was 14, only stayed 7, left, went somewhere else, came back a couple of months later, and the campsites had been downsized. Like, the driveways were just barely long enough to get your van off of the road. They had brought in boulders to shrink the length of the driveway. I mean, the driveway was like 50 or 60 feet, and now it's like 20 feet. So you're pretty much just parking on the side of a dirt road. Now, this one's great. They haven't done that to this area yet, but take a look at this. See how long this driveway is? Beautiful. Well, I'm afraid in another year, you'll have some boulders blocking off that driveway where you just got to pull in and that's all you get. That's the problem with public lands that I have seen for the last few years. I call it the big squeeze. The land's still here. The land has not shrunk. The acres are still here, but the part that you can actually enjoy has shrunk. Everywhere you go, there's boundaries put up. No camping past this point. And when you used to, you could get off of the dirt road, get away from the dust, get down in some nice, quiet, tranquil area of the forest. But not so much anymore. And there's a reason for that. And my personal opinion is drugs. I really wanted to keep drugs out of this, but I just can't because it's the truth, and the truth has to be told. I've been to so many places where there was an encampment of drug users, and they trash the place. It's just filthy. They leave needles behind. It's absolutely insane, which brings us back full circle to why this is going on. It's drugs. I used to coddle drug users, remember? I used to feel so sorry for them, make excuses for them. But remember when I had my epiphany? I was in Oregon and saw the devastation of all the drug use on the streets and out in the forest. Couldn't get away from it no matter where you went. Well, that's where my opinion changed, and I saw the light, and I wised up. So here today, you and I are suffering the consequences from the drug users. It's spilling over onto us. I'm in van life for 2 or 3 reasons. The main reason is it's a cheaper way of life. The other reason is I love nature. I love traveling, and this is the only way I can afford to do it. And it makes me sad that the government doesn't take the time to differentiate between me and a junkie. I don't want any part of that, but they just assume that I must be a junkie because I'm living in a van and traveling around. If they would just take the time to realize that the vast majority of us want nothing to do with that whole scene. That whole scene is not my scene. If I'm a junkie of anything, I'm a nature junkie. This is my drug right here. This is better than any drug. This gets me high. Like John Denver said, sunshine always gets me high. So this is the boundary here. This is where the private property begins. I'm glad they put a fence up. They really need to do that. I've been to a lot of places where the private property people didn't bother to put a fence up, and then they get upset if you go on it. Well, I didn't know. Here's a sign over here. So at least here they did put up a proper sign and a proper fence. So they shouldn't have any problems. It's all you need. It's a fence and a sign. There's a camper right down there. Man, this place is something else. I hope they don't come in and put up a boundary closer to the road on this place where you can't even come back this far. But I just don't know what's going to happen in the future. I'm going to go ahead and make plans to just start using paid campgrounds more often if things, if the crackdown becomes even more and the big squeeze becomes even more. I guess that's what I'll do. Paid campgrounds in the future. I'll just try to find the most budget ones and hope that it's not full of junkies. I guess that's all I can do. And I guess I'll end with this. Finding free camping in the summer, it's much more difficult than finding free camping in the winter. The winter is so easy. You just go down to low desert. The winter's it's too easy, actually. The summer is where the difficulties come in because you're trying to find a place up in high elevation to cool off. And most of the free camping is down in the desert where you definitely do not want to be during the summer. So it's a numbers game, it's a lot of people searching for the same property. And that, along with the ever shrinking campsites, or not just campsites, but camping areas, it's the big squeeze. So whether it's this new executive order or it's just this common shrinking of public access to public lands, it's not going to get any better until some things change. One thing would be the trashing of the land with drug paraphernalia. You can't have a family with children go out camping and let their kids run around with the needles on the ground. I mean, that's a whole different situation. We could all get together and go pick up trash. I pick up trash everywhere I go. That's what that container on the back of my van's for, is for picking up other people's trash. But when it comes to picking up hypodermic needles, no way, I'm not touching those. You got to have special PPE and sharps containers and all that stuff, and that's why they'd rather just close the land down. So it's harsh, but it's truth. So let's end like this. Don't be like I was. Don't coddle drug users. They will steal from you. They will take advantage of you. And then you're going to have to live with the mess they created. So I'll end with that. Thanks for watching. Take care, be well, and smash the bell.